Welcome to the Iwi Den. I'm excited about this one. This is the Rhythm Changes series. I just love this stuff. This series will be an extensive series of video lessons. Rhythm Changes is absolutely an essential and valuable addition to your improvisational toolbox. And it's a big subject. So my goal is just to provide you with the best strategies that I can. And hopefully we can build your understanding, your ears, and your improvisational flexibility over this popular form. The blues is probably the most popular improvisational form, but I believe rhythm changes probably coming in second. It gets its nickname because it's derived from the chords to the song I've Got Rhythm by George Gershwin. So your first assignment is go listen to I've Got Rhythm. The form of the tune is AABA, and it's most commonly 32 bars long. So the AABA refers to the melody and the harmony. More to the harmony, because there are a lot of rhythm changes tunes that do not follow the AABA melody. So if we looked at like I Got Rhythm, it's like I got rhythm, that's the A section. Then it does that same thing again. Then there's the B section. It's different material. Then finally back to the last day. So what you should do is listen to as many rhythm changes as you can, but try to keep track of the form in your mind while you do it, especially during the solos, because hearing the form is going to be critical to what we're doing. Certainly the key to success will come from listening. So here's a list of tunes. It's a pretty elaborate list. If you decide to commit to this project, listen to at least one a day. You'll find them listed in the video description. Listen to as many as you can, and the ones that you love, listen to them until you can sing the melody, and maybe you could even sing the solos. So that brings us to building technique. Historically, rhythm changes tunes are played at like breakneck tempos. So the first thing you need to do is start elevating your technique if it's not already developed. And it's not something that's hard to do. It's just you have to show up and build it. It's not like you wake up some morning and you have chops. You have to build it. So like maybe today you can play your scales at one speed. So as long as you know what speed you can play your scales, next week you can play them faster and faster and faster and faster. And so in a year or two, you can play basically any speed that you want. So for today, here's a short list of scales that we're going to use. We're going to use C major and the C major chord. So that's just C, D, E, F, G, A, B. And then C, E, G, B for the chord. And we use C dominant. It's just the C scale, but the B is flat. And C dominant chord is C, E, G, B flat. And finally, F dominant. So it's an F major scale with the flat 7. So it's F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E flat. And the chord is F, A, C, E flat. Here's the scale. I'd recommend learning these scales and chords in every key, and consistent practice will bring you the vocabulary and the technique that you need rather quickly. And that is the purpose of a scale routine. And quite honestly, I would suggest playing the scale and the chord 2 octaves with jazz articulation. So I'll just do C major and C major chord with the jazz articulation. That's T, 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 tonguing the upbeats, slurring to the downbeats. And the chord. You don't need like immense technique today, but eventually we need the skills to manage the tempos that are in the 240 to 300 range with enough ease to still be creative when we improvise. A big challenge to playing rhythm changes is maintaining flexibility as the speed increases. And if you've played rhythm changes before, I'm sure you notice that as the tempo increases, it feels like your ideas are getting cramped and squashed, just like they're in a vice. So rhythm changes study is a long-term commitment to fight against that, actually. And there's no easy fix. So you need to get started building your technique, and the rewards will certainly be worth it. So with that said, let's dig into today's lesson. So let's look at a rhythm changes. The rhythm changes tune. Here it is illustrated, and this is the chord progression. There's a lot of chords. We don't need to know all those today. We'll eventually get to those. But let's just look at the chords in reference to the form. So there's it starts out and it goes to the first ending, and that's the A section. Then it goes back and repeats, basically plays exactly the same thing. Again, that's the second A, so A, and it goes to the second ending. Then here's the bridge, that's the B section, and it's a circle of dominance. We'll be talking about that. And then finally it returns to the A. So the form is AABA. Each section is 8 bars, so it's a 32-bar form. So our first goal is to hear the harmonic function of the A section. And that's a good idea because it's 75% of the tune, right? Because there's 3 A sections and 1 B section. So if you're really strong at the A section, you're going to sound pretty good most of the time. So if we look at this from a function point of view, the first 4 bars, we'll talk about this as we go along, but right now just take my word for it. The first 4 bars function as a 1 chord and establish the key of the rhythm changes, right? Then the bar number 5 here, that sets up a move to the 4 chord. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to, for today, we're just going to hold out the note B flat. And then it goes to a dominant 4 chord. So we'll just hold out the note E flat again, because that's where this note was actually leading us to, right? And then the last 2 bars, whether it's the first ending or the second ending, we can just go back to C major again. I believe this to be a very strong and practical approach for hearing the A section. And as we go along, we'll add chord movement. It'll be easier to add chords and embellish chords if you really can hear where the primary function of each section is. And if you're an advanced player, this like scaled down approach is really a good way to attack tempos that are 260 and up. I did place this exact iReal Pro track in the description, so you can download it and practice along. So let's just take a look at what we're going to do today. So we're going to play C major for the first 2 bars, and then we'll play C major again for the next 2 bars. Then we'll hold out the note B flat for bar 5, hold out the note E flat for bar 6, and then play C major scale up and down again for bars 7 and 8, whether that's the first ending or the second ending. So it's really just going to be like this. Bar 3 and 4. Bar 5. Bar 6. And bar 7 and 8. So here's what that's going to sound like along with the track, right? And that's our exercise. So what we're going to do is we're going to set our iReal Pro up to speed up by 5 clicks every time it repeats. But if we select the first ending and the second ending, it'll only speed up every second A section, right? So we can play our exercise the first time through, and then we can improvise the second time through. So by improvising, we're going to play the C major scale for the first 4 bars, and then play the B flat and maybe a little bit of that scale if we can get to it. And then we'll play the E flat and a little bit of the F dominant scale if we can get to it, and then back to C major. And then when it repeats, it'll go up 5 more clicks, right? So then we just are going to keep doing that until it's too fast for us to play. I'm not going to do that I'm just going to play, I'll play like 2 choruses and then 2 choruses again. So here's the exercise. Improvise. The exercise again. Just keep doing that over and over as it gets faster and faster. So I would do this a lot, you know, if you just keep going until you get to that almost panic zone, you know, and then over time you'll start to remember like, oh, like 140 was fast, and then maybe a couple days later 150 is fast, and then a couple weeks later, you know, 200's fast. And that's how it works. And I think it's really good to do the vocabulary every other time, because you want to be able to think very clearly about what's going on. So those repetitions of thinking it's C major for 4 bars, it's B flat, it's E flat, C major, like making certain that you're seeing that clearly in your mind is super important. And a lot of rack time on the improvisation will help. Make sure that you're playing 8th notes with the jazz articulation. I appreciate your support so much. If this lesson was helpful to you, please hit the like button. If you want to catch the next lesson, hit subscribe, and YouTube takes care of that for us. I'll be posting this in the Iwi Den Facebook group. I'll put a link to that in the description, and also along with a link to join the Iwi Den's free membership area. All right, have a great day. Have fun.